Well, hello there and welcome to this discussion about tourism in Canberra and the Canberra region. I'm Joe Prevedello, and for this discussion we're joined by Neil Hermes, the owner-operator of Canberra Guided Tours, which is the leading small business for tour operations in the Canberra region. Neil, g'day.
Hi, Joe.
So in this particular episode we're going to be discussing travelling to Canberra as a family.
Yeah,
and particularly activities to do with young children in the Canberra area, of which there are no shortage. Often, Neil, when families are thinking about where they might go on holidays, they can be put off by certain places because they think, oh, well, I don't know what we're going to do with the kids there and it may not be interesting for them. They might get bored. But that's definitely not the case with Canberra.
No, it's not. It's not the case with Canberra. There is a myriad of things to do with kids in Canberra. And first of all, before we go through the list of all the highlights, I just say that Canberra's just a great place just to hang out with kids. I mean, it has all sorts of facilities where you can just do the sort of outdoor activities with children. Bike riding, walking around the lake, just being, if you've got a dog, walking the dog around in the parks of the city. So it's just and lots of picnic areas, etc. So ball games in the park, sort of thing. The very low level sorts of things, flying a kite at the Arboretum, which they do regularly. So Canberra, to begin with, is just an easy place to do just lovely things with your children without even getting to the list of all the actual enterprises that are run and the features that are run.
Well, when you think about it, there's not many places that are better than coming to Canberra if you've got kids, particularly with the range of things and the things you could get them interested in or have them have their time occupied with. I mean, we're really talking about educational things, really fun things for them. Doesn't matter if they're 5 or they're 15.
That's right.
There's going to be something that's going to take their interest, isn't there?
Yeah, and I don't like using the word educational because you don't want to put people off to think that it's a serious thing. But educational things actually are the fun things that are available in Canberra are often very educational as well. So, for example, Questacon's a very good example of that. It's a science centre that's built to have fun. It's where children have fun. The fact that they may learn a bit of science while they're there is a bonus, really, for a family. So Questacon really is a highlight for young children in Canberra, and it's got facilities for children from the ages of, small babies right through to typically, 15, 16-year-old children. And it's one of the places that's visited by many school groups coming to Canberra. So Questacon is a standout in terms of an experienced place, and you can have 2 or 3 hours in a place like Questacon easily with a family group, and you could have them of different ages in your family and they'll all have things that they'd want to do. Very nice, safe environment, an easy place for parents to sort of supervise their children. Great location for kids. And then we have another area of Canberra which is called the Cockington Green area, the Gold Creek tourism area, and that has a range of facilities as well. And you can centre yourself there for a day because there's some fabulous activities
and
there.
do 3 or 4 things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got things like Cockington Green, which is the miniature village, which is world famous, and children find that absolutely fascinating, and there's lots of activities for children. You've got the bird aviary where you can walk through the aviary and feed the birds. Kids find that really a lot of fun. Then there's also the National Dinosaur Museum where kids can walk around amongst the big model dinosaurs, and that's all within one little precinct where there's places to have picnics, etc. So again, a great place to take kids in Canberra.
Yeah, so even just that Gold Creek precinct, which is about, 15 minutes northwest of the city area, I mean, that's a place you could base yourself for one day.
Absolutely.
And the kids would be totally occupied.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there's other places, such as a little bit of out of town. There's 2 places close together, the Tidbinbilla tracking station, or the Canberra Deep Space Station as it's called, and the Tidbinbilla Nature Reserve, quite close together. The Tidbinbilla tracking station, of course, is where NASA still runs a major function in Australia and tracks its deep space probes. And that's a really interesting place, perhaps for slightly older children, once they're, sort of 10, 12 and older. And there's a little interactive museum. Kids can learn about, how astronauts poo in space, all that sort of stuff that kids love talking about and finding out about. And then nearby there's the fauna reserve, the nature reserve, where there's kangaroos. You can walk amongst the kangaroos and see the koalas. So again, another place where you could base yourself for half a day or thereabouts.
Yeah, so far we've got miniature villages, we've got space, we've got animals, we've got the Questacon Centre. I mean, there's really a diversity here.
Yeah.
Even if your kids are into, museums and things like that, there's definitely options, amongst all the institutions. But one that's probably more suited to kids is probably the Mint.
Yes, that's right. And the Mint, of course, is the Royal Australian Mint, to give it its full title. That's where, in the past, Australia made all its coins, and in fact, it was built for the bringing of decimal currency to Australia back in 1966, and all of our coins were originally made there. These days, sadly, we stamp coins. The blanks are made elsewhere, but we still produce the coins in the Mint. And there's a very interesting museum about coins and money and about how our money works and those sorts of things. Again, perhaps for a slightly older age group, maybe 10 or 12 years or older. But they have a big robotic device that picks up the coin boxes and things, and kids can watch that in the factory. The Mint's a good place to visit. Just a tip on the Mint. The Mint is a factory, and you can watch the operations, but you have to be there on a working day. So the best time to visit the Mint, if you've got a choice, is to visit on a Monday to Friday.
Yeah, weekday.
Because on a weekend, the operations won't be active. It's all very interesting still, but the tip about visiting the Mint is to be there on a working day. And, of course, we haven't even mentioned the National Zoo and Aquarium, which is one of Australia's leading zoos, where they have hands-on activities for the whole family in terms of, the interactions with the animals. And right on the edge of the lake, one of a very highly regarded zoo in Australia. So that's another great feature. Amongst those things, Joe, if you've got a family, you've got 4 or 5 days of activities, as well as the passive, the not so structured things as we mentioned before, like the parks, etc. There's skate parks in every park, etc. So you could easily have a really great family holiday. The kids will learn some stuff, but they'll do it in a really fun sort of environment.
Yeah, and just on a serious note to finish, I mean, we do have our 2 main institutions, Parliament House and the War Memorial. I mean, really educational. I know you said you don't like the word educational, but I mean, if you've got kids and you want them to learn something about Australia's civics and citizenship or Australian history, I mean, they're the places to go.
Sure. I did say I did not want to use the word education. I love the idea of educating kids and getting kids to be immersed in things. And I think the Parliament House and the War Memorial are things that you could add to that mix of things to make it a richer experience for the whole family for that period that you are here. And you don't have to see it as a study tour. You can see it more as an immersive experience where you're just taking the things in. And certainly the War Memorial is a very immersive place. You just, the place exudes the history of Australia as you walk around the galleries there. It's a fabulous place. So, look, it's a very enriched environment to bring children to Canberra, and I would recommend it for parents with children of virtually any age.
And, I mean, you touched on it before, but there's plenty of space. If you want space for kids to be able to run around after you've been to one of the museums or whatever, or been somewhere, there's plenty of space for that.
Pack the bikes, bring them as well, bring the dog, and, it's a great place.
Yeah. So there you have it. If you're thinking about a family holiday soon, think about coming to Canberra because you'll have a great time with the kids. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Joe.